Hi there, my name is Mr. Beeman. This is my rules and regulations for the coming school year. I've been teaching ceramics here at El Medina High School for a little over 19 years. So I've been around the block a few times. This is 2022, so if you're watching this at a later date, there's a good chance that I've been teaching for longer than that. Main thing that we need to know in this is that your student or you will be exposed to a number of hand building and potter's wheel techniques. I'll teach you about all kinds of contemporary artists and expose you to artists of the past, a number of different techniques. And if there's any concern, or if you guys have any questions about anything in the classroom, please feel free to contact me. The best way to contact me is going to be through email. You can see it there in blue, bbeeman@orangeusd.org. I usually check this 2 or 3 times throughout the day, and it's very quick and easy for me to be able to send you a quick response in that sense. I do list my phone number there, but most likely it will immediately get sent to a voicemail. So I will check that periodically, but it's most likely going to be an easier and quicker response if you get an email. If you could email me. My grading policy there goes over a couple of different things that I'm looking for when we create our projects. You'll notice that craftsmanship is 70 points out of the total possible 200, which means that the craftsmanship or how good of an artist your student is or you are is only about 35% of your grade. It's not the whole thing. A lot of people ask, well, how can you grade art? And I usually just kind of tell them, you can tell people that have put a little bit of time and effort into their work, and you can tell the people that just, quickly threw it together so that they could complete the project. And so I want to grade people more on effort and rather than just their raw abilities. I don't feel I had really good, strong abilities when I first started, but I fell in love with ceramics and I enjoy it. And I worked very hard to get to where I am at now. And I honestly just consider myself fairly good, not great, but that's just my personal opinion. Maybe a little harsher on myself. I will ask the kids to do some drawings. I'll go over that in the project form a little bit more in detail, but this is not a drawing class. I understand that stick figures are fine. And so that's about 20 points, about 10% of the grade. It's important that we have preliminary drawings so we have our ideas down on paper, because if we don't, those ideas will disappear and go off into the air and never to be found again. So if we have an idea, it's a good idea to write it down. Following directions is another 10% of your grade, or 20 points. I'm going to ask you to make 2 bowls, and you turned in a sculpture of a cat. You didn't follow directions. So please make sure that, you are following directions. I will list the requirements for each project as we go through them up on the board, and I'll point out where they are. And so you'll know exactly what those requirements are each time that you do it. As far as projects being turned in on time, I'm going to go more in detail on that, but my due dates are fairly firm. I don't want to say they're like rock solid, but I know that everybody works at a little bit different pace. And so sometimes somebody might need a little extra time. The one thing I just try to tell people is that if you're going to take a little extra time, just understand the next project's going to get introduced. As soon as that due date is there, it'll be introduced on the next class period. And if that's the case, then you have to understand you're going to be further behind for that project. So please make sure that you are working on it in a timely manner. And I'll give you guys some times when you can come in and work on your projects also. The personal assessment, I'll go over that a little bit more in detail a little bit later on. That's going to be talking about elements and principles that were used in your project so that you can be able to talk about art intelligently. So 70 points for craftsmanship, 20 points for the preliminary drawings, 20 points for following directions, 10 points for turning it on time, and 30 points for the personal assessment. Total that up, that's 150 points. That's just for the construction of your project. That's not necessarily the project as a whole completed, okay? The other 50 points comes in the glazing, adding the color to our project. Glazing is a pretty important thing. It adds some decoration and some color to it. Also, it's a technique that we need to learn so that we do it properly and so that our clay becomes completely vitrified, meaning that it is 100% functional, that you can use it in the dishwasher, microwave, and it's not going to get damaged or anything. Okay. Moving on to my grading scale. I guess I should have pointed out that gives you a total of 200 points for each project. Each project should take you about 5 class periods. If you think about that, each class period is 100 minutes long. That's 500 minutes, or a little over 4.5 hours of work time to complete your project. Now make that 5.5. Like, I can't do math. Probably about 8 hours of working time, which would be more than enough time to get any of these projects done. So let's move on to grades, grading scale. I just use a typical 90 to 100% or more is an A, 89.99% is a B, okay, and 79.99% is a C. I don't round grades up, okay? Please make sure you're aware of that, mainly because I will give you a number of opportunities to earn extra credit. And so therefore, if you do a little extra credit and that boosts your grade up to get you past that, 89.95%, then, it shouldn't take too much. But for that reason, I don't like to round grades up. As far as classroom folders and classwork, okay, I will give you guys a folder that you can use for this class. It'll have a number of handouts in it, but also you'll be able to keep all of your papers for this class in that folder. There'll be a shelf in the corner of the room where you can keep it. That way, all of the dirty papers and all the ceramic dust and all that kind of stuff that gets on your project forms or any of your papers do not get mixed in with your math papers or your English papers or something like that. We try to keep the dust and the dirt from the ceramics room in the ceramics room as much as possible. And there's going to be very, very little homework that I'm going to allow you or want you guys to do at home. So everything will be completed in here. So there's no reason for any of that stuff to leave the classroom. So use the classroom folders that I give you, and I'll go over that a little bit more in detail in class. Clay projects, again, they should all be completed at home. I do not like to allow people to take stuff home. If it's been bisque fired, gone through the first firing, and you want to paint your project at home, that's fine. And then you have to bring it back to show me. But the problem is that a lot of times things will get damaged in transit. In other words, they'll get damaged on the way home or coming back, or when they're sitting at home, a little brother or sister or the dog bumps into a table and knocks your project, and now your project's destroyed. And it's really difficult to put back together. So that's why I try to tell everybody, just do all of the work here in class. Like I said, I will have a few things here and there that I'll ask you guys to do, but very little of it will be done at home or home work, for that matter. The glazing of your projects, as I mentioned, that is how we apply the color. I'll cover that later on when we get closer to glazing our first project, but that's going to be still about a month down the road from the first day of class. So it takes a little while to get that first project done, but we'll get into that, and I'll go into a lot more detail later on. Basically, what will happen is after you've glazed it, it'll go out into the kiln room. I will load it into the kiln. We'll fire it. And once it's been fired, then you'll bring it back into me, and you'll show me your project along with the glaze grade form. That glaze grade form will then have notes for you, or notes that you've taken on how you glaze your project. So that way, if you get a really cool effect, if you really have a great color that you like, you know what color you used or how you applied the glaze, so that you can reproduce that and get that same color on another project. Basically, the students will show me their project. They will show me their glaze grade form. I will discuss with them how the glazing came out, maybe give them some pointers, or if it came out perfect, just tell them it looks great. I'll grade it right then and there. I'll put it into the grade book, and I'll hand the project back, as well as the glaze grade form. Glaze grade form goes back into your folder, and then your project is free to go home with you. Probably one of the hardest things I have, one of the hardest tasks I have, is to getting students to take their projects home. I don't like to throw stuff away, but I can't hold on to it forever. So please make sure you take your projects home when they are done. Glazing is anywhere up to 50 points. That makes up the other 50 points in the project. So 150 points for building your project, 50 points for the glazing, gives you a total of 200 points. Let's see, in the late work category, okay, late work, I understand that I give what's called a life happens project. The life happens project means that it's the due date, you got it all finished, you're walking it over to put it on the cart where you turn projects in, and you trip and fall and you drop your project, or it breaks for some reason. Students can use this one-time life happens project, and what I mean by that is you still have to redo the project, you still have to make it, but I won't take off any points for it being late. And therefore you can turn it in anytime throughout the year or throughout the semester and still get full credit without it being late. They just have to put a little note at the top of the project form that says life happens and this project broke when I was turning it in, and I'll know exactly what that means. But again, if you're falling behind because that project broke, I am available during lunch to work on your projects. I'm always in here. That's probably the best time. Also nutrition. Before and after school, probably not. I get here a little bit early, maybe during zero period, but it's not really a lot of time to work. And usually I'm not here after school. So if a student needs to work on stuff and needs to get caught up, please come talk to me and I'll help out with that. The cleaning jobs, homework for and homework for other classes. Like I said, very little of stuff will be for my class will be done at home. Homework for another class. If I see a student doing homework for another class in my ceramics room, first thing I'm going to ask them is, are they done with everything for this class? If they can say yes, then I will walk around and make sure that there's nothing that they need to glaze, no projects they need to turn in, and all that kind of stuff. If I find that there's something that they have not completed for their ceramics class, what I will probably do is I will probably tell them I found some stuff that you need to do. I will pick up their homework and I will throw it in the trash. Now, a lot of people say, oh my gosh, that's so harsh. Why can you do that? Well, here's my dilemma. Okay. You wouldn't take your ceramic stuff into your math class, or your English class, and start setting up shop on your desk and start working on your ceramics class or ceramics project in your English class or a math class now, would you? No, of course not. So if you're not willing to do my work in your English class, why would I allow you to do your English work in my class? Okay. This is ceramics class. Everything needs to be done in class. If you are completely done with everything for this, for my class for ceramics, and you're just waiting for that next demonstration to start the next project, by all means, go ahead and do homework for your other class. But if you are not done with everything for this class, then I do have the right to throw your homework away for your English class. And I have zero sympathy. Okay, like I said, you're not going to take my ceramic stuff into your math class, your science class, and just start making your ceramics project. Okay, so why should I allow you to do it in my class? All right, hopefully that's clear. Cleaning jobs, there are 25 cleaning jobs that we do in the classroom towards the end of the period that helps keep the room respectably clean. I understand it's a dirty room. There's nothing we can do about that, but we can at least wipe down the tables, make sure our tools are put away, make sure the scrap clay is put away so that it doesn't dry out, those kinds of things. What'll happen is I have 25 cleaning jobs. 25 of those students will be assigned one of those cleaning jobs. I'll go over that in another video, but basically you get 5 points a day for doing that cleaning job. You have it for 5 class periods. At the end of 5 class periods, I will rotate who has a cleaning job. There's only about 32 to 33 students per class right now. So that means 6 or 7 of you won't have a cleaning job. And so therefore you'll have those 5 days off, but I will add those people in first for the next round of jobs when I assign the new cleaning jobs. It's either 5 points for doing the job or 0 points for not doing the job. Most of the jobs take about 30 seconds. Probably the hardest one is wiping down a table. There's a job where I ask you to close cupboard doors. Yes, I give you 5 points just for closing all the doors in the room, making sure the sink's cleaned up, making sure the tools are organized, those kinds of things. It's just a little something extra to help keep the room clean, like I said. Also, it's not necessarily people doing jobs for other people. It's to help people get cleaned up so that we can all get out of here on time. And so therefore we don't, have a few people straggling and that are, late to the next classes. It just helps help keep the room clean and get everybody out on time. I'll go over those more in the next video on cleaning jobs. Extra credit projects. Okay. As we're looking here, the next one down, extra credit projects can be anything that you want. Okay. If you have a little extra time, you get done with a project, or if you just want to take a break from what we're working on and you want to make something, When you found out that you had ceramics, there's a very good chance that you went, oh, cool, I've always wanted to make this, or I've always wanted to make that, or whatever it happens to be. This is your chance. The projects that I assign you are going to teach you certain skills, and that is a good thing so that you have those basic skills. Especially second semester, when we start getting into more advanced projects, you'll have those skills already. And so if you want to make something that you've never made, then obviously you can go ahead and do that. I also want to mention that it has to be something that's appropriate for school. And I'll go over not making, drug or alcohol paraphernalia or anything that looks like a weapon or anything like that. That's not going to be accepted. The extra credit projects, you'll probably get anywhere from 5 to 10 points, depending on the complexity of the project. On occasion, I do give up to 20, 25 points. It would have to be something pretty spectacular for 20 to 25 points of extra credit to go into your grade. Main reason is because I only allow you to do 200 points of extra credit. For projects. You can make as many projects as you want, but only 200 points. So technically, yes, you could replace one of your actual assigned projects. However, if you do one project that I assign you, and that's worth 200 points, it would take you 40, that right? Yeah, 40 5-point projects in order to make the 200 points up. Okay, so in theory, yes, you could replace a project. However, it's not going to be easy to do. Okay, so I would just suggest that you do the main projects that are assigned to you, and it'll make it easier. All right, so going on to the drug or alcohol paraphernalia. No, you may not make pipes, bongs, smoking devices of any kind, or anything that promotes the use of drugs or smoking or alcohol. For an example, if you've ever been down to Tijuana, as you come across the border, there's always a guy that's selling the chimpanzee or the monkey that's sitting on a log and smoking a joint or smoking a cigarette or drinking a beer or something like that. That kind of stuff, no, I'm sorry. Also, please don't make anything with mushrooms. Psychedelic mushrooms seems to be the overlying theme there, and the administration does not like that. The other thing that I want to encourage you not to make, and please do not make anything like this, do not make anything that looks like or could look like a gun, a knife, a sword, a battle axe, a dagger, any kind of Chinese throwing stars, anything like that. The main thing is, A, we don't want anybody getting hurt. The other thing is that if anything like that is made, I'm one of the only ceramics teachers in all of the city of Orange, and if anything is found, they're going to know exactly what classroom it came out of, and I don't want to get in trouble for that. For the drug paraphernalia, pipes and bongs, or anything like that, I have a drop throw policy. Basically, I will hold it out at arm's length, and I will drop it. If it doesn't break, I will throw it until it does. Okay, hence the drop throw policy. I will do that once, and I will let all of my classes know that I found something that was a bong or a pipe. And if it happens a second time, then I will turn the bong or pipe into the Orange County Sheriff that's on campus. And therefore, they will press charges because this is now drug paraphernalia. Is whatever the law allows. Most likely it's just a misdemeanor, but it's going to be very difficult if you have a misdemeanor drug paraphernalia charge on your record when you go to apply for colleges. So please don't make anything like that. There are millions, literally millions of other things that you can make besides pipes or bongs or any kind of smoking thing or anything that looks like a weapon or mushrooms and that kind of stuff. If you need more examples of things you can make, just ask me and I'll give you guys plenty of opportunities and things that you can make. Okay. Last but not least, these are some classroom rules here. Students are going to be responsible for cleaning any and all materials that you've used. Just because you have somebody with a cleaning job does not mean that they are there to pick up after you. You are still responsible for putting away anything that you got out, and anything that you use, you are responsible for putting away. Okay. As I mentioned, it says each week, but every 5 class periods, students will be selected to perform certain cleaning duties. These will be rotated throughout the school year. Make sure you have a pen or pencil. When you fill out the project forms, there's a portion where you're going to have to hand that over to somebody else, and they're going to fill that out for you. And if they say, oh, well, I don't have a pencil, you go, yes, you do. Here, and you can hand it to them. But make sure you have something to write with every day. Number 4, show respect for other people's work. If it doesn't belong to you, don't touch it unless the owner gives you permission. You don't know how fragile something is. You don't know where something is supported more or less and that kind of thing. So if you have something, if you see something that you need to move, figure out who it belongs to, and then maybe ask them if it's okay if you move it. If they say yes, then it's on them, or ask them to come move it. My biggest thing is just don't touch if it doesn't belong to you. Because if you break somebody else's work, that doesn't do anything to your grade, but it will affect the other person's grade. Okay. I don't like food or drinks. A bottle of water's fine. I don't mind that. But we are given the same amount of time to eat our breakfast or lunch or nutrition or whatever it happens to be. So if you plan on eating during the school day, do it at the assigned times, just like I have to. I know cell phones, it says here, this is probably written a little bit longer ago when cell phones and laptops and computers were kind of like the no, don't use them in class. Now you're encouraged to use them in class. I don't mind you using your cell phones in class to look up examples for other work. Okay. I don't want to see you watching movies or videos or something like that of things that are not related to ceramics during class. If you want to use it to listen to music after I've done my demonstration, that's fine. I highly recommend you not bring a computer or a laptop into class. There's a lot of dust and dirt in here, so it can damage your laptop, and that could be pretty bad. So please make sure you're using it for the proper purposes, okay, but not watching movies or something like that. I want you to be able to focus on working on your projects while you're in here. Headphones or earbuds, again, I don't mind if you're using that and we're just working on our projects. But if I have an announcement, or if I'm going to give a demonstration, or there's something like that, I want you guys to take the earbuds out and headphones off completely so that I know you're listening and you can hear everything that I'm talking to you guys about. Okay. While I'm doing my demonstrations or while I'm talking to you guys, your phones and everything should be out of sight, out of mind. If you have to have it on the table, just make sure it's flipped over so you can't see the screen. And that way, you'll be able to listen to what I'm saying. Observe all school rules at all times. Pretty straightforward. When you're asked to clean up the classroom, do it to the best of your ability. Everyone likes a clean work environment. As long as the room is clean, the next class that comes in, they will keep it just as clean. If it starts to get dirty and the next class that comes in sees that, then they will be less likely to clean up after themselves as well. So please make sure you clean up to the best of your ability. This is to reiterate, you're responsible for cleaning anything you use during the class period. Just because there are people with cleaning jobs, it is not their responsibility to clean up after you. They're there to help you get cleaned up. You still have to put away all of the tools that you got out, all the clay that you got out. Your project needs to be put away. If you got a cup of water or a work board, if somebody doesn't come around and help you with that, you have to do it yourself. Okay. And then my favorite saying that my favorite high school teacher had on his wall in his room was, your mother is not enrolled in this class and she's not going to be coming here to clean up after you. So please make sure you clean up after yourself. All right, that goes over the basic rules. We'll go over into a lot more detail of the other things. What I'll have you do is put your period number, student prints their name so I can read it, then their signature, and then mom or dad gets to sign down there showing that, yes, you have read those rules and regulations. As it says, I have read and understand the rules and regulations. Mr. Beeman explained them to me so that I agree to follow these and abide by these rules while I'm enrolled in this class. If I choose to break one of the rules, I understand the consequences according to the above rules and or the school handbook will result. So if there's a discrepancy or there's a problem with breaking some of those rules, there will be consequences. Okay. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully it will be a wonderful year. Okay. All I want you to do is take scissors and cut along that dotted line, and you're going to bring that back into me and turn in that little slip of paper. You should have a paper copy of this either in your folder or I've given you one on that first day. So just bring that back. Those will be the first 5 points that go into the grade book. So please make sure that gets turned in a timely manner. All right. If there aren't any questions, like I said, you can email me with questions. Other than that, hope you enjoy this, and I look forward to seeing you in class.